Welcome to the Thought Snob Podcast. I'm Paula Swope. Let's get snobby. Today's episode is about Uranus. Now, Uranus is one of the most misunderstood planets in astrology, and people are, just scared of Uranus. And I mean, I get it. Like, some keywords for Uranus are unexpected, sudden change, upheaval, instability, accidents, divorce. But on the other hand, there is also higher intellect, original thinking, inventiveness, genius, awakening, astrology, scientist, and new ideas. What I want to do today is help you figure out how your natal Uranus behaves in your chart. It isn't the same for everyone. Now, people see Uranus in their natal chart or, see it moving through one of their houses and immediately expect their entire life to blow up. And to be fair, Uranus can blow things up. But there's usually more to the story. Uranus is the planet of disruption, awakening, rebellion, liberation, innovation, and sudden change. It breaks patterns. It challenges expectations. It refuses to let us remain trapped in situations that are no longer right for us. Uranus wants freedom. The problem is that human beings don't always want freedom as much as we claim we do. We tend to lean towards what's familiar. We want predictability. We want to know what will happen next. Most people cannot stand uncertainty and will hold on to people, jobs, beliefs, and situations that make us miserable simply because they are familiar. Resisting change or emotional adjustment is something people tend to avoid. Then Uranus comes along and says, "We're not doing this anymore." Uranus works beautifully if you let go of what you need to let go of. But if you hang on, Uranus is going to mess some shit up. Uranus will shock you into doing what needs to be done. And you probably won't win. Okay? And you know what you need to let go of. You know that, okay? So Uranus can behave differently dependent on the sign it's in, the house it occupies, and the aspect it makes to the rest of the chart. Uranus is the energy, and the sign is how the energy expresses itself, and it plays out in the 12 houses. The house describes the area of life where you're most likely to experience disruption, awakening, or, an intense need for freedom. Because Uranus moves slowly, large groups of people share the same Uranus sign, and that sign tells us something about how a generation creates change. The house placement makes Uranus much more personal because it shows us where that energy operates in our individual lives. Now, I'm focusing on natal Uranus in this episode, not transit Uranus, okay? Natal Uranus is what you were born with, and that's never going to change in your natal chart. It's fixed. But transit Uranus is always moving, okay? Now, I freaked out when I first saw where Uranus was in my chart because Uranus is in Scorpio in my 7th house. The 7th house rules marriage, long-term relationships, commitments, contracts, and one-on-one partnerships. Uranus in the 7th house can be associated with sudden relationships, unconventional partnerships, instability, separations, or divorce. But that doesn't mean everyone with Uranus in the 7th house is destined to get a divorce. Astrology does not work that way. Uranus has behaved differently. Uranus has taken out the trash for me. Anytime I was involved with someone I shouldn't have been involved with, Uranus continually disrupted the relationship until I finally let it go. And that was in, dating relationships and in business. If the relationship was wrong for me, there was no peace. Something unexpected would happen. The truth would surface. The instability would increase. the situation would become impossible to ignore. And if I continued trying to hold on to something that needed to end, well, it got real nasty and real painful. And that's something I've learned about Uranus. It works beautifully when you cooperate with a necessary change, but if you try to grip something that is already expired, you better look out. Plus, Uranus's energy is raw when we're younger. And as we mature, the planet's energy manifests differently. Now, when I was younger, my dating relationships would end abruptly and out of nowhere. It was shocking, and I wondered why all of my relationships ended like that. Well, it was Uranus. Those people were not right for me. I never saw a moment's peace, and they were very superficial too, okay? And I'm not meant for superficial at all. Now, here's another piece to this. Uranus is unconventional, so throw tradition out the window. Everything about my one-on-one relationships has been unconventional. I didn't get married until I was 38 years old, and I married someone who was unlike anyone from the cultural landscape in which I was socialized. And until I met my husband, my relationships were very superficial, and those men did not know me. I didn't allow them to. Now, Uranus is with Scorpio, conjunct my north node, which is Scorpio. My south node is setting at my ascendant, and it's in Taurus. My nodes tell me to move away from the superficial and to go deep. Don't keep things superficial in this lifetime. Go deep into the relationship. Go deep into my work, okay? So Uranus doesn't necessarily destroy things for the sake of being cruel. Sometimes it destroys the illusion that something is still working. Now, I'm going to use my chart as an example again for just a second. I'm not turning this episode into it being about me. I'm trying to teach you how to learn things about how Uranus behaves in your natal chart and therefore in your life. Okay, keep in mind what I just said about those Scorpio placements. I've got Uranus, Scorpio, looking at my chart, 7th house, and it is conjunct my north node in Scorpio, okay? So Scorpio is intense. It rules themes like intimacy, truth, secrets, betrayal, power, death, and transformation. Scorpio does not skim the surface, and it does not do anything halfway. So when my 7th house Uranus activates a relationship issue, it doesn't politely tap me on the shoulder. It's like it slaps me across my face. It digs up the truth, and it exposes what's been hidden. It forces transformation. The disruption continues until I stop pretending I don't know what I already know. And for me, Uranus has protected me a lot. Now, I want to tell you a couple of more things about my chart. I'm going to get into some aspects here. And if you're not familiar with astrology, don't expect to get this the first time around. It's very sophisticated, and it's quite complicated, and it's not something that people typically just pick up on right away. So let's get into some of my aspects. We've got Uranus opposing my ascendant. So anytime there is an opposition in a natal chart, that means that there's an imbalance. So Taurus, I'm Taurus rising. I've got Taurus on the ascendant, okay? Taurus is fixed. Taurus can cause a person to be stubborn, reluctant to change, and it's superficial. Taurus kept me stuck for a long time, and Uranus kept disrupting until I changed, okay? And when I changed, well, things started running a bit more smoothly. Now, an opposition is a hard aspect, okay? But then the trines are easy, okay? The easy aspects. Trine is a little green triangle. You'll see it in your natal chart, and that shows you where things just flow easily in your life. It's a natural gift from the universe. You were born with it, okay? So my Uranus trine my moon and my north node. So my sudden, unconventional insights directly fuel my life purpose and my destiny. So see, I've got Uranus working for me. Now, this aspect links my daily work life to my one-on-one important relationships. The positive aspect helps me break old habits and grow through sudden, empowering changes. Now, the moon trine, okay, that means that those two planets are helping each other. Uranus and the moon are helping each other, okay? They're working together. So my sudden urges and deep feelings, they don't fight each other. They're working together. And that allows me to accept sudden changes without losing my inner peace. Okay? All right. So, now, off of me, on to everybody else. So, Uranus can behave very differently in another house. Remember, mine is in my 7th house, okay? Let's go back to the first house here. In the first house, Uranus may create a highly independent person who constantly reinvents themselves. This person may resist labels and refuse to live according to other people's expectations. Now, if you're parenting a young child, check whether they have Uranus in their first house. If they do, you better let them run. You need to let them be free. If you put a cap on their freedom, they'll rebel. Let them run. The tradition, the conventional shit is not going to work for that person, okay? If Uranus is in the 2nd house, Uranus may bring an unconventional relationship with money, possessions, or security, like income may fluctuate, or the person may earn money through unusual, innovative, or independent work. In the 3rd house, Uranus can create an original thinker and communicator. The mind may move quickly, ideas may arrive suddenly, and traditional education may feel restrictive. In the 4th house, Uranus may bring an unconventional childhood, frequent changes at home, family disruption, or a strong need to create freedom within the private life. In the 5th house, Uranus may express through creativity, romance, children, or risk-taking. Romantic experiences may begin unexpectedly, and creativity may be highly original. In the 6th house, Uranus may rebel against rigid routines, traditional workplaces, or repetitive responsibilities. You know, this person may need flexibility and independence in their daily life. In the 7th house, Uranus may bring unconventional relationships, unexpected changes in partnerships, or a need for freedom within commitment. And I have to have freedom in my relationships. I'm not just talking about marriage. I'm talking about business partners too. And clingy just doesn't cut it. In the 8th house, Uranus may create sudden transformations involving intimacy, shared finances, loss, power, or psychological breakthroughs. In the 9th house, Uranus may reject inherited beliefs in a search for an original understanding of truth. Travel, education, or spiritual awakenings may completely change, the person's worldview. In the 10th house, Uranus may lead to an unusual career path, sudden professional changes, or a public identity built on innovation and independence. In the 11th house, Uranus may bring unusual friendships, changing social circles, involvement in progressive communities, or a desire to reform society. In the 12th house, Uranus may operate beneath the surface, like awakenings may come through dreams, intuition, spiritual experiences, isolation, or sudden breakthroughs involving unconscious patterns. None of these placements automatically predicts disaster. Uranus shows us where life may refuse to remain predictable. It shows us where we need space, authenticity, and the freedom to evolve. Sometimes that energy feels exciting. Other times it feels like the rug has been pulled out from underneath us. But when Uranus removes something, I think we have to ask a better question. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to release me from? And then the ultimate question for Uranus is, well, how can I do this differently? Now, that doesn't mean every loss feels good or that every sudden change is easy. Some Uranus experiences are genuinely painful, but Uranus often reveals where we have outgrown a person, situation, belief, or version of ourselves. Uranus can bring some pretty intense feelings in your early 40s. That's when we all experience our Uranus opposition. Everybody goes through it. So transit Uranus opposes your natal Uranus. And this astrological event is often referred to as midlife crisis. The Uranus opposition is like a psychological wake-up call to reevaluate your life choices, and it feels like a sudden urge to change. I mean, you may feel like you are coming out of your skin. You want change so badly. How many people have affairs and get divorced during this stage of their lives? And these mistakes are made because they don't understand why they feel the way they do. It's a restlessness and a strong desire for personal freedom. Be keenly aware of this if you haven't gone through it yet. If you ever want me to run your natal chart and find out the date of your Uranus opposition, I can do that. All of my coaching services are on paulaswope.com. I have a pretty long waiting list right now, though, so just be aware of that. Now, if your life keeps becoming chaotic in one particular area, look at the house where Uranus sits in your natal chart. Look at the house Uranus is currently transiting. There may be something you are being asked to see, change, or release. Now, about 3 years ago, during a Uranus transit, Will and I came into some sudden, unexpected money. I mean, that can happen too. Uranus isn't subtle. It'll send a signal, and if we ignore it, the signal tends to get louder, okay? Now, I've learned not to cling too tightly when Uranus starts moving things around. If something is being exposed, I pay attention. If something has clearly reached its expiration date, I try to let it go, because Uranus works beautifully when you release what you no longer need. But if you insist on hanging on, Uranus may take out the trash with you still holding the bag. So that's all I have for you today. I would love it if you would drop your natal Uranus in the comments. Tell me what house it's in and what sign it's with. And if you think you know how it behaves in your chart, I want to know that too. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week.
The Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope has been brought to you by Thought Snob Media in association with Special Purpose Studios. All production, mixing, and sound engineering by me, Will Swope. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars and leave a review. See you on the next Thought Snob Podcast with Paula Swope.